A very good evening to all of you. I hope I'm visible as well as audible. Can you guys give me a quick confirmation in the chat box? Good evening, everyone. I hope you guys are doing well, and I hope you are geared up for today's class, which is basically we'll be practicing our reading comprehension together, and there are certain things that we are going to talk about in order to solve and be better at improving our comprehension skills. So I hope you guys know who I am, and if you do not, I'm Sukanya, if you're meeting me for the very first time, and I'm your English trainer. And I would love if you guys, interact throughout the session, because that would make it all the more fun. Okay. Hello. Hi, Parth. How are you? So I'm hoping that we can start today's class, right? Ready, everyone? Okay, so let's get going, I think. I hope my screen is visible. As you can see, today's class is going to be about reading comprehension. So the topics that we are going to cover are very simple. Obviously, we are going to learn how to solve the reading comprehension passages with the right approach, because if the approach is not right, obviously, there are a lot of problems that you might encounter, which we do not want, right? The second one that we are going to see here is basically the different question stems, because you might have seen that there are certain type of questions which always pose a problem, okay? And again, the right strategy to solve them. There will be questions based on vocabulary as well as grammar, okay? So this is kind of like a mixed bag thing where you will come across passages on different genres and also varied question stems, so that you can actually hone your comprehension skills. Okay? So moving on to what you can anticipate. So we are going to learn the basic concepts. Now देखो, एक simple सी बात है, reading comprehension ऐसा कुछ नया नहीं है तुम लोगों के लिए. You have been solving passages, right? So यहाँ पे there are certain things that you need to remember when we are solving an RC passage. सबसे पहले तो है Q2P approach. Can anybody quickly tell me what exactly is Q2P approach in the chat box? देखते हैं कितने लोगों को पता है. And how many of you already employ it? Anyone? And if you do not know, you can simply tell me. I'll guide you through it. So Q2P approach while solving reading comprehension passages. What exactly is that? Waiting for your response. अगर नहीं भी पता है तो let me know. Exactly, Bhavya. Thank you so much. So the Q stands for reading the questions first. Wait a second. And for that, I would want all of you to have a rough notebook right next to you, so that, because देखो simple सी बात है, ये PPT तुम लोगों के पास तो नहीं है. So in case you want to jot down some important key details, you can jot it down in your rough notebook. So have a rough notebook, have a good pen with you. ठीक है? So the first step is reading the questions, and while reading the questions, you are going to mark the keywords. Okay? Keywords are very simple to understand. They are basically things that usually stand out in a question. For example, which of the following is true? So यहाँ पे keyword क्या हो जाएगा? True. Highlight it. And in your case, you will note it down. That means in the first question, you're supposed to find out the one option which is true in context of the passage. जब भी ऐसे टाइप के questions आते हैं, हमेशा याद रखना that it's always better to read the options also, because generally the options will have the keywords, not the question. ठीक है? Good evening, Aman. Then moving to the next part. It can be anybody's name. It can be a place. It can be an acronym. What are acronyms? For example, IIM, that's an acronym, right? Then, if a concept is mentioned, if a particular date or year is mentioned, these are all your important details. Hi, Anaira. And moving on to the second step. The second step is again very simple. We are going to go back to the passage and read the passage thoroughly. when we are reading the passage, we need to also focus on the keywords that we had marked in the questions. Okay? Once we are done with this, the third and the final step is obviously going to the questions, options, and coming to the conclusion or our answer. The answers you can simply write in the chat box. Okay? So this is the Q to P approach, and this is exactly what we are going to incorporate in today's session also. ठीक है? तो ऐसा मत पूछना कि मैम why are we seeing the questions first? Because there's a reason why we see the questions first. It helps you save a lot of time, and time is of essence. If you do not use it judiciously, obviously you will suffer. So that's the reason. अच्छा, ये भी तुम लोगों को शायद पता होगा कि the weightage on RC passages is not that much as it used to be back in the day when you were preparing for CLAT and AILET. क्योंकि CLAT and AILET, the entire paper is based on reading comprehension. यहाँ पे if I talk about this, यहाँ पे आपको 2 से 3 passages ज़रूर मिलेंगे. So I just want you guys to not lose marks on something that you already have practiced so much. As simple as that. The next part is focusing on new vocabulary. If there are instances where you're coming across new words, please put it in the chat box. We'll definitely discuss those new words for you. Okay? And I'll write down the meanings which you can note down for yourself. That could be your vocabulary list for the day. Now, moving to Parth, what exactly do you want me to repeat? Oh, Aman, thank you so much. And I welcome you back. What do you want me to repeat, Parth? सबसे पहले हमने डिस्कस किया Q to P approach. Q to P approach का मतलब होता है reading the questions, marking the keywords, reading the passage, and finally giving the answers while reading the questions as well as options carefully. That is Q to P approach. Keywords के बारे में मैंने यहाँ पे बात की. Name, place, acronyms, date, year, anything that stands out in the question is your important key detail. ठीक है? अब समझ में आ गया पार्थ? And finally, न्यू वोकैबलरी. देखो, जिसकी वोकैबलरी वीक है उसकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग भी वीक है. एज सिंपल एज दैट. सो वोकैबलरी इज एक्चुअली द बैकबोन व्हेन इट कम्स टू ओलेट्स. यू गाइज मस्ट हैव नोटिस दैट, राइट? वोकैबलरी पे बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस पूछे जाते हैं. एक्रोनिम्स, सिनोनिम्स, सॉरी नॉट एक्रोनिम्स, एंटोनिम्स एंड सिनोनिम्स. देन देयर इज अ क्वेश्चन बेस्ड ऑन fill in the blanks. So vocabulary is a very essential part when it comes to OLETs. So in terms of reading comprehension, in terms of usual vocabulary questions, हमें vocabulary पे हमेशा से ही focus रखना है. ठीक है? चलो, moving to the next one. And I'm ready with the passage, but before that, what's the first step that we had just discussed? Are we going to directly jump into the passage, or are we going to do something else first? Batao? Yes, even one word substitution, exactly. What exactly is your name? N-A? What do I call you? So are we going to start with the passage? No. We are going to start with the questions first, right? अमन, अगर वर्ड पार मेड इजी कंप्लीट है तो उसका रिविजन करना पड़ेगा. अदर दैन दैट, as I have already mentioned in my previous videos also, please watch and follow certain YouTube channels which will help you with improving your vocabulary. There are tons of channels available who that teaches you vocabulary in a very fun, entertaining manner. So देखो, technology हम सभी के पास है, and I would want you guys to make the best out of it. So please start following channels that kind of teach you vocabulary in in the format of YT shorts. देखो, एक शॉर्ट 60 सेकेंड्स का होता है ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा, एंड दिन भर में अगर हमने 4-5 बार भी देख लिया उस शॉर्ट्स को तो वो हमारे दिमाग में हमेशा के लिए रह जाता है. तो दैट इज़ वन वे टू रिवाइज योर वोकैबुलरी. ओके? एंड ऑल्सो टाइमली प्रैक्टिस, बीइंग कंसिस्टेंट. हर वीक में एक बार टाइम निकालो, वीक में जितने भी नए वर्ड्स लर्न किए हैं उनका रिविजन करो. सो दैट इज़ गोइंग टू कीप यू ऑन टॉप ऑफ थिंग्स. ओके? Parth, there's this one channel, Improve Your English with Evelyn. You can go for that. There is another channel, it's basically something like this. I don't know how to pronounce it. So that's another channel which can help you with vocabulary and in general how to speak fluently when it comes to English. ठीक है? Bhavya, that's actually a very great strategy, and I think you might have seen the impact on your daily life also, because you are following such important knowledgeable channels, right? So coming back to this, coming back to this, please read the question carefully. If you see any important detail mentioned in the question, please mark it in your rough notebook. Okay? Now I'm going to keep quiet and I would want you guys to focus. Once you are done reading the first question, let me know. I'll move it to the second one. Okay? Chalo. Arnav, I completely agree. Actually, social media has kind of, stripped us of our attention. But अगर पढ़ाई करनी है तो attention पे तो focus रखना ही पड़ेगा. And you will have to drink वो जो कड़वा घूंट है वो पीना तो पड़ेगा ही. तो पढ़ाई करने के लिए एक जगह पे बैठ के 30 से 40 मिनट्स तो कम से कम focus करना ही पड़ेगा. Vedika, this is about MHCET, so can we just talk about this in some other session? Would that be okay? Chalo, moving on to the next one. I think one of the simplest questions. Shall I move to the next? Can anybody quickly tell me what could be the keyword in this question? Who can tell me? Very good, Parth. Good job. Summary is one of the keywords. And summary of which paragraph? ये भी याद रखो. Ready for the next one? Okay. Taking you to the fourth question. Ready for the next? Thank you so much, Adi. What are the keywords in this one? I think you guys are smart enough for that. Very good. Ready for the passage now? Shall we move? Okay. Read the passage carefully. Also, be on the lookout for the keywords that you have just marked. जहाँ पे भी वो keywords दिख रहे हैं, उस at least line number को तो लिख ही लेना. Let me know if you are done with the first page. I can take you to the next paragraph.
Enough juice.
Done? Has everybody read the first paragraph? Okay. Moving to the next one. Great. I hope you guys know the meaning of nyay, right? Hi, Aman. Aman, we have already started reading the passage, so I think you're probably a little late. But koi baat nahi, we haven't yet done the explanation. Aman, that means you are here at the right place and at the right time. Jitna jaldi preparation start karoge, you will be having an upper hand over all the others in that case because you're still in 11th. So, and we are practicing here reading comprehension, which is a very essential part when it comes to CLAT. So, you can be a part of this particular practice session too. Are you guys ready to see the first question again? Are you done reading this? Okay. All the very best. Let's start. If you want me to take you to any particular part of the passage, do let me know. I can just take you back there, okay? On the previous slide. अगर तुम लोगों को कोई एक particular para देखना हो, तो let me know. Okay, I've started getting answers also. First para? Okay. Moving to the next question. I hope you guys are done with the first one. What does the term inquiry, as has been used in the passage, mean? That means they are just asking you the meaning of the word inquiry. By the way, let's not confuse inquiry with enquiry. These are two different verbs. This is different and this is different. I don't know how many of you already knew that. Also, please mention the question number when you are answering for this question. Okay, remember one thing. When they ask you vocabulary questions, they ask you on the basis of the context that it has been used in the given passage. यहाँ पे अगर तुम लोग देखोगे inquiry के बारे में जो बात होती है, I think it's somewhere here in the second one. Summary for the second paragraph. Quickly see the options and then I'll take you to the second paragraph. This is the second paragraph. Any answers? Okay, fourth one, embodied existence. What according to the author is embodied existence? If anybody here already knows the meaning of embody, I think the answer must be on the tip of your tongue. जिसने भी इस वर्ड का मीनिंग समझ में, जिसको भी समझ में आ गया, जिसको भी ऑलरेडी पता होगा, उसको ऑलरेडी आंसर भी पता होगा इसका. And the last one, what is a suitable synonym for the word undermine? Undermine is one famous word. I think every single day, if you are usually reading the newspaper, you might have seen this word occur multiple times. So undermine एक बहुत ही यूज़ होने वाला शब्द है और probably ज़्यादातर लोगों को इसका मीनिंग पता ही होगा. All right. So I hope you guys are ready to discuss the passage. First of all, let me know, how did you find the level of difficulty of this passage? Did you find it difficult, easy, moderate? कैसा लगा ये passage? And don't be shy. Tell me. Okay, I'm not able to write it here, I guess. ठीक है, moderate. अब है, actually what we need to see here is, first of all, keep in mind which tone is dominant throughout the passage. And generally the tone which you can see in paragraph 1, paragraph 2 and also the last paragraph, ठीक है, वही एक dominant tone हो सकती है, या first paragraph और last paragraph में जो tone चल रही है वो dominant tone हो सकती है. ठीक है, so last paragraph is very very important in order to determine the tone, but you also need to see what's going on in the overall passage. ठीक है, now can anybody quickly tell me about, everybody felt that it was a moderate kind of passage? I'm not able to write it here for some reason. ठीक है, now let's talk about the genre of the passage. What was the genre? What was the category from which this passage has been extracted? Manvi, are you talking about Learn English with Evelyn? Was I talking about that channel? ठीक है. So the genre of the passage is philosophy. I think you guys must have already got it, because liberation, embodied existence, ऐसी बातें कहाँ होती हैं? ऐसी बातें सिर्फ philosophy में ही होती हैं, right? So let's try to understand this passage in very simple language, क्योंकि obviously the language that has been used here is not for everybody. ठीक है, चलो, just let me know about one of your favorite candies. Like, what is that chocolate that you always go back to? तुम्हें हमेशा जब भी मिल जाए वो चॉकलेट, वो तुम्हें खाना पसंद आएगी? कोई मुझे बता सकता है? So what's your favorite candy or what's your favorite chocolate? You guys must be wondering why I am asking this question, but it has very much relevance to what we are going to discuss next. So बताओ. For example, if I have to pick one, then probably I'll pick Kit Kat. What about you guys? Oh, Anaira, fist bump. ठीक है, just imagine that जब भी तुम्हें मौका मिलता है, you are always ready to eat this candy. Whatever it is, मेरे लिए किट कैट है, तुम्हारे लिए स्निकर्स हो सकती है, किसी और के लिए कुछ और हो सकता है. ठीक है, because the candy makes you feel so good, right? Every time you eat it, you feel so, I would say, क्या बोल सकते हैं उसको, elated. You feel so on top of the world, and that's the reason जब भी आपको मौका मिलता है, आप उस कैंडी को खाना पसंद करते हो. Now imagine, one day you meet somebody and they tell you that this candy that you have been eating actually does more harm than good, and every time you eat it, it's making you a little sick every single time. कैसा लगेगा अगर आपको किसी ने ऐसा बताया? Okay, Anaira. एंड पार्थ, आई थिंक यू आर वन विद द क्लासिक कैडबरी, राइट? कोई बात नहीं, तुम्हें कैंडी नहीं पसंद, बट मैं एक एग्जाम्पल दे रही हूँ. तो अगर किसी ने आके तुम लोगों को बताया कि यार दिस इज़ रियली हार्मफुल फॉर योर हेल्थ एंड एवरी सिंगल टाइम दैट यू ईट दिस कैंडी तुम्हारी हेल्थ खराब हो रही है, ठीक है, तो तुम्हें कैसा लगेगा? ऑब्वियसली तुम्हें उस चीज़ से बुरा लगेगा सुनना, ठीक है. एट फर्स्ट यू विल प्रोबेबली वोंट बिलीव दिस पर्सन, ठीक है, क्योंकि यू हैव ऑलरेडी एंड ऑलवेज एसोसिएटेड दिस कैंडी विथ प्लेजर, क्योंकि जब भी आप उस कैंडी को खाते हो आप खुश हो जाते हो, ठीक है, वो आपकी फेवरेट चॉकलेट है तो आपको अच्छा ही लगता है उसे खा के. बट फिर ये इंसान जो आपको बता रहा है कि हाउ हार्मफुल इट इज़, probably consider this person as your dentist, ठीक है. तो वो ये बताता है कि this candy is actually a source of pain, not pleasure. और वो बार बार आपको यही चीज़ बताता रहता है. तो after a certain period of time ये जो thought है ये आपके दिमाग में भी आ जाता है. And then you start to think about it. Oh, it's causing me pain. It's giving me toothaches. It's probably making my tummy hurt. So after a certain period of time you might not want to have this candy as much. होगा कि नहीं? कहीं ना कहीं आपका थॉट चेंज हो गया उस कैंडी के लिए. अभी तक कहानी समझ में आ रही है कि नहीं आ रही है? लेट मी नो अब यहाँ पे कुछ भी नहीं समझ में आए तो, ठीक है. ओके, सो मूविंग टू द नेक्स्ट पार्ट ऑफ द स्टोरी. नाउ आफ्टर अ सर्टेन पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम आपको समझ में आ गया कि दिस कैंडी इज़ नॉट रियली मेंट फॉर यू एंड यू स्टॉप्ड ईटिंग इट, ठीक है. और फिर वो यही बोलता है कि ये जो पेन आपको लेकर आ रही है ये कैंडी, दिस इज़ बेसिकली द पेन प्रिंसिपल विच द राइटर टॉक्स अबाउट, ठीक है. वो जो पेन प्रिंसिपल की बात करता है वो यही पेन प्रिंसिपल है, दैट द आइडिया दैट समथिंग दैट गिव्स यू प्लेजर इज एक्चुअली कॉजिंग यू पेन, then you would not want to have it as much anymore. As simple as that. ठीक है, जब आपको ये पता चल जाता है कि कोई चीज़ प्लेजर के लिए नहीं है, वो एक्चुअली आपकी ज़िंदगी में और पेन लेके आ रही है, सो आफ्टर अ सर्टन पीरियड ऑफ टाइम यू विल टोटली गिव इट अप. दैट्स एग्जैक्टली वॉट द पेन प्रिंसिपल इज, ठीक है. नाउ think about this same theory in terms of a more complicated idea. And what is this more complicated idea? It's the idea of liberation. Liberation क्या होता है, कोई मुझे बता सकता है? Anybody? In simple terms? Savi, this passage has been taken from this particular journal of Indian philosophy by Nilanjan Das. तो कोई मुझे बता सकता है इन सिंपल टर्म्स लिबरेशन होता क्या है? लिबरेशन का मतलब होता है फ्रीडम, ठीक है. नाउ द थिंग इज फ्रीडम, आई एम नॉट रियली टॉकिंग अबाउट फ्रीडम ऑफ यू नो इन जनरल कि हमें एक आप बोल सकते हो स्वतंत्रता चाहिए. हम यहाँ पे फ्रीडम की बात कर रहे हैं इन टर्म्स ऑफ गेनिंग द हाइएस्ट फॉर्म ऑफ हैप्पीनेस, बेसिकली मोक्ष, ठीक है. हाइएस्ट फॉर्म ऑफ हैप्पीनेस का मतलब क्या होता है? यू आर फ्री फ्रॉम ऑल द पेन एंड सफरिंग ऑफ योर लाइफ, ठीक है. यू आर फ्री फ्रॉम ऑल दैट पेन. तो अगर आपकी ज़िंदगी में कोई पेन ही नहीं है, सफरिंग ही नहीं है, दैट मीन्स यू हैव रीच्ड द हाइएस्ट फॉर्म ऑफ हैप्पीनेस, ऑल्सो नोन एज मोक्ष, ऑल्सो नोन एज निर्वाण, ऑल्सो नोन एज what else can we call it? Enlightenment probably, ठीक है. तो यही होता है फ्रीडम इन टर्म्स ऑफ सोल फ्रीडम, ठीक है, जहाँ पे आप सफरिंग्स, पेन्स, इन सब से मुक्त हो चुके हो. तो यहाँ पे राइटर एक्चुअली ये चाह रहा है बताना हमें कि वी शुड कंसिडर ऑल द एक्टिविटीज़ दैट वी डू ऑन अ रेगुलर बेसिस. तुम खाना खाते हो, तुम स्कूल जाते हो, तुम पढ़ाई कर रहे हो, तुम फ्रेंड्स के साथ मज़े कर रहे हो. एवरी सिंगल एक्टिविटी शुड बी लेबल्ड एज एन एक्ट ऑफ पेन. हर चीज़ आपके लिए एक तरीके से पेन होना चाहिए. अब ये बहुत सुनने में अटपटा लगेगा क्योंकि फ्रेंड्स से मिलना तो अच्छी बात होती है. आई हैव अ लॉट ऑफ फन मीटिंग माई फ्रेंड्स, राइट. The thing is, according to some ancient philosophers, like here in this particular story, we talk about Vatsyayan. Vatsyayan is a very famous Indian philosopher. वो ये बोलते हैं कि true freedom can only be attained by getting rid of all the pain that is in your life. ठीक है? Even the pleasures we enjoy is a form of pain. अकॉर्डिंग टू वात्स्यायन। ठीक है, भले ये सुनने में बहुत अजीब लगता है, जैसे कि मैंने कैंडी के बारे में बोला था या चॉकलेट के बारे में बोला था जो आपको खाना पसंद होती है और फिर आपको उसको छोड़ना पड़ता है क्योंकि दैट गिव्स यू पेन। ठीक है, बट द थिंग इज यहाँ पे थॉट प्रोसेस थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट है। वात्स्यायन इज ट्राइंग टू गिव अस अ सल्यूशन, ही इज ट्राइंग टू मेक अस थिंक इन अ डिफरेंट वे। ठीक है, ही वॉन्ट्स टू चेंज द वे वी थिंक अबाउट प्लेजर। ठीक है, हम लोग प्लेजर को कैसे देखते हैं? इट्स प्योर जॉय फॉर अस, एनीथिंग दैट ब्रिंग्स अस प्योर जॉय इज एन एक्ट ऑफ प्लेजर। ठीक है, ही सेज दैट वी शुड सीज एज जस्ट अनदर फॉर्म ऑफ पेन। उससे ये होगा कि देन यू विल बी सो डिटैच्ड फ्रॉम द वर्ल्डली प्लेजर्स, आसपास जो भी चल रहा है, you will be so isolated from it, you will be so detached that you will be motivated to actually seek real freedom. And what is this real freedom? This real freedom is also known as मोक्ष। हम लोग दुनियादारी में ही लगे हुए हैं। ठीक है, हमें हाईएस्ट फॉर्म ऑफ हैप्पीनेस चाहिए ही नहीं है, वी डोंट वांट एनलाइटनमेंट, वी आर स्टिल स्टक हियर इन द वर्ल्डली प्लेजर्स। तो वो बोलता है इन सारी चीज़ों को छोड़ दो। When you will leave all of those things behind, then only you will get motivated to actually seek your true self, seek the real meaning of liberation. So in simple terms, अगर मैं इस passage को समझाऊँ तो वात्स्यायन और जितने भी other philosophers हैं, they just want us to change our perspective and they want us to start seeing pain, start seeing pleasure as pain only. Only then we will be less interested in the worldly pleasures and more interested in finding our true selves, in finding moksha, and they think it is very, very important and it should be considered as a very important goal in life. It's kind of like discovering the ultimate truth. Why are we born? इसका आंसर, ठीक है, why do I exist? इसका आंसर हमें ऐसे ही मिल पाएगा। So how many of you have understood the passage? अगर नहीं समझ में आया हो, yes exactly, like the pinnacle point of life, exactly, जैसे कि बुद्धा, महावीर, इन सब ने निर्वाण या एनलाइटनमेंट हासिल किया था। हाउ डिड दे डू इट? सबसे पहले तो बुद्धा ने देखा आसपास की चीज़ें, उन्होंने देखा कि मैं तो इन सारे वर्ल्डली प्लेजर्स में ही अटका हुआ हूँ, कितना दुख है संसार में। देन ही सैट फॉर मेडिटेशन एंड ही सैट फॉर मैनी ईयर्स, ओनली देन ही गॉट दैट सेंस ऑफ हाइएस्ट फॉर्म ऑफ नॉलेज। ठीक है हाँ आर्यन, ये तो बात सही है, बट आई होप तुम्हें पैसेज समझ में आ गया हो। ठीक है, अब अगर किसी को आंसर्स चेंज करने हैं तो वैसे बता देना। नाउ टू इक्वेट प्लेजर विथ पेन इज अ थॉट दैट बिलोंग्स टू द, कहाँ बात हो रही है यहाँ पे इक्वेटिंग प्लेजर विथ पेन के बारे में? इट इज बीइंग टॉक्ड अबाउट इन, अभी मैं समझा देती हूँ कहाँ बात हो रही है इसकी। When are we equating pleasure with pain? Can you see it on the screen? Vatsyayan's solution depends on what I will call the pain principle. That is the principle that we should treat all aspects of our embodied existence as pain. Here in this line we are equating pain with pleasure. Yes Abhay, you are talking about the right things. अब इसका आंसर क्या होना चाहिए? It wasn't Vatsyayan's theory of liberation, it was the author's pain principle, जिसमें हमने pleasure को equivalent बताया है pain से। I think it was Parth who gave the correct answer. ठीक है, obviously Vatsyayan's label of pain, this is incomplete, that's the reason this is not the answer. वात्स्यायन्स न्याय फिलॉसफी तो काफ़ी बाद में आती है, प्लेजर विथ पेन जो है वो फर्स्ट पैराग्राफ में ही बात की जाती है, वेर एज न्याय फिलॉसफी इज बीइंग टॉक्ड इन डिटेल इन द सेकेंड पैराग्राफ। ठीक है, एग्जैक्टली पार्थ, यू आर करेक्ट। थ्योरी ऑफ लिबरेशन की भी बात जो होती है वो सेकेंड पैराग्राफ में जो न्याय फिलॉसफी है उसमें होती है। ठीक है, whereas equating pleasure with pain is only being talked about by the author's pain principle, जहाँ पे वात्स्यायन आपको ये solution देता है कि you should treat every single pleasure in your life as pain only. ठीक है, चलो moving to the next one. What does the term inquiry as has been used in the passage mean? देखो पहली बात तो do not get confused by the two terms. Inquiry का मतलब होता है to simply ask something. जैसे कि for example, you go to the help desk and you ask them questions. For example, you want to enroll in LegalEdge, तो आप कहाँ जाओगे? आप जाओगे एडमिन डिपार्टमेंट पे, वहाँ पे आप क्वेश्चंस पूछोगे कि मैं कैसे एनरोल हो सकता हूँ, हाउ कैन आई पे द फीस, हाउ मच इज द फीस, ये सारे आपके आंसर्स कहाँ मिल जाएंगे? हेल्प डेस्क पे, राइट? दैट्स टू सिंपली आस्क क्वेश्चंस. सो ऑब्वियसली इंक्वायरी का मतलब एन इनफॉर्मल आस्किंग नहीं होता है, बिकॉज दिस इज इंक्वायरी. आई होप दिस इज क्लियर. And inquire comes from the term being inquisitive. किसी को पता है inquisitive का क्या मतलब होता है? What's the meaning of inquisitive? No, Shishir, that's not the answer. It is to formally investigate. When you are inquiring something, that means you are doing it in a formal way, and that too an investigation. Investigation कैसे होती है? कुरेद के, when you get to the crux of the matter, that is an inquiry. यहाँ पे the word inquiry has not been used in order to find your truth. An inward search for truth, ये आंसर नहीं है इसका. अगर तुम लोग ये वर्ड देखोगे यहाँ पे, जहाँ पे भी इंक्वायरिंग यूज हुआ है, वो बस यही बोलता है, द नॉलेज ऑफ दीज टूल्स इज नेसेसरी फॉर इंक्वायरिंग इनटू लिबरेशन एंड द मीन्स टू अचीव इट. यहाँ पे ट्रूथ की बात नहीं होती है, ठीक है? एंड स्पेशली द इनवर्ड ट्रूथ, उसकी भी बात नहीं होती है. द पैसेज डज नॉट यूज दिस टर्म इन टर्म्स ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर कॉन्टेक्स्ट. सो द आंसर शुड बी विच वन? A formal investigation. Obviously, inquiry does not mean asking for permission. बहुत सारे लोगों को ऑप्शन सी लगा था, बट हमेशा याद रखना, whenever they are giving you vocabulary questions, look at the context of the word. Where exactly has it been used? What is the topic that's going on around that word? तभी उसका आंसर मिलेगा, ठीक है? क्योंकि पैसेज में वहाँ पे बात हो ही नहीं रही थी इस चीज़ की. Then which of the following can be a summary for the second paragraph? अब मैं एक चीज़ बताती हूँ. The first point is correct, the second point is correct, and the third point is correct. And if I want to add these 3 points, then I get the answer, which is option D, sorry. न्याय ultimately leads to liberation. और न्याय हमें कैसे मिलेगा? सबसे पहले तो by knowing truth. Why the first cannot be the answer? Because it's not a whole option. Truth, लेकिन कौन सा truth? The writer talks about self-truth. The writer talks about truth about the outer world. The writer also talks about how the truth can be used. तो ये बहुत ही limited option है, but गलत option नहीं था ये, ठीक है? So we will be adding this one. Second वाले की भी बात करता है. न्याय is a thorough introspection of one's own self. इसके भी बारे में बात होती है in the passage. But again, ये और ये तीनों भी किस ऑप्शन में आ जाएंगे? It will be properly fit into option D. You might have studied about syllogisms, right? Suppose this is option D. A भी उसी के अंदर आ जाएगा, B भी उसी के अंदर आ जाएगा, C भी उसी के अंदर आ जाएगा, क्योंकि you need truth, you need thorough introspection of your own self, you need the knowledge to ask critical questions in order to find liberation of the soul. आया समझ में? Is it clear? Shall I move to the next part? All good? So far so good? Chalo, let's move to the next question. Okay, what does the author mean to say when he says embodied existence? मैंने क्या बोला था? जब भी ऐसे टाइप के questions आते हैं, which is again a part of vocabulary in a way, ठीक है? If you already know the meaning of embody, तो तुम्हें समझ में आ जाएगा कि what should be the answer. When you embody something, that means you personify it, ठीक है? Personification पढ़ा है in school. For example, the wind giggled with the trees. Is wind a real person? Can it giggle? क्या एक इंसान की तरह वो हंस सकती है विंड? नहीं. But we are treating the wind as if it were a real person. So we are personifying it. ठीक है? तो personify का मतलब क्या होता है? जो भी emotions that you go through, okay, each and every trait of human emotions, you basically embody it in the form of your existence. मतलब कि human life is actually personifying every single emotion. आप खुश होते हो तो बेसिकली खुशी आपके चेहरे पे झलकती है. When you are sad, even the sadness can be very well seen through your face. Niku, yes, you are a little late. We are already at the end of the first passage, but don't worry. You are still here, and we are going to do the second passage together again, so we can start from there, okay? Exactly, to add the quality of a person, basically providing human attributes to a non-living thing, okay? That is personification. So the answer to this one is, he means to personify each traits of human emotions, चाहे वो pleasure हो चाहे वो pain हो, दोनों को ही personify करना embodying existence होता है, ठीक है? Then moving to the last one, the synonym for undermine. Undermine is a very common word. Undermine का मतलब होता है to weaken something. So weaken का मतलब एक और चीज होती है, and that is to diminish. Can anybody quickly tell me what's the meaning of the word insidious? Insidious. Spreading gradually. धीरे धीरे कोई चीज जब फैलती है, ठीक है, you don't even pay that much attention to that particular thing, but वो धीरे धीरे फैल रही है, and later causing serious harm. That is insidious. Okay? Now, moving to the next passage. I hope you guys are ready for that. And one more thing, again, we are going to see the questions. This passage is a little lengthy, but it's a very interesting passage. The genre is literature. पहला passage था philosophy से, the second one is from literature. ठीक है? Yes. Please see the question carefully. Yes, exactly. Detrimental. That's also undermining something. You can also use it as deterrence. D-E-T-E-R-R-E-N-C-E. Deterrence. That's also discouraging or undermining or diminishing or weakening something. Good evening, Amit. Hi. For people who have joined us just now, we see the questions first, we mark the keywords in the rough notebook, and then we read the passage and look out for those keywords. That's the strategy, Q to P approach. That's exactly what we are doing in this class. ठीक है? So Amit, are you not able to see the questions carefully? Shall I move to the next one? अमित, MHCET की जो क्लासेस हैं वो 6 o'clock, 6 PM sharp we start. Okay? The live sessions where we practice, where we generally talk about strategies. So हर शाम 6 बजे. चलो, moving to the next question. As I've already told you, whenever you come across questions that is asking you which of the following statement is true, which of the following statement cannot be inferred, can be inferred, हमेशा बेटर होता है ऑप्शंस को भी देखना, क्योंकि यहाँ पे कीवर्ड्स आपको कहाँ मिलते हैं, ऑप्शंस में मिलते हैं. Taking you to the next question. I hope you guys are ready. How many of you know what are articles? These are articles, right? So what they are asking you here, in how many places will the definite article the should be present, which would not alter the meaning of the statement? Which statement are we talking about? There is this one statement which is underlined in the passage. तो वहाँ पे हमें ये बताना है कि कहाँ कहाँ the लगेगा, and how many times have you used the in that statement. So for this you will have to check out the underlined statement. So I'm moving forward to the next one. And this is something which you can answer without even reading the passage if you know parts of speech. Parts of speech का मतलब क्या होता है? Nouns, pronouns, adjectives, adverbs, prepositions, conjunctions, interjections. So if you already know parts of speech, मेरे ख्याल से novelist का आंसर आपको पता ही होगा. So can anybody quickly tell me? Is it a verb, noun, pronoun, adverb? And the last one. The word inhibition has been written in bold in the passage. Again, you are supposed to find out the synonym. And Samriddhi, you are absolutely right. Shall I take you to the passage? Ready? Very good, Shashir. Good job. Taking you to the passage. Kishan, reading more things, reading variety of things, being in touch with grammar, being in touch with vocabulary, I think that could be considered as the basic steps in order to improve English. Solving lots and lots of passages of different genres like we are doing right now. Listening to podcasts that are in English, following some YouTube channels which can help you with language, watching English movies, TV series. ये सारे ही तरीके हैं English improve करने के. Sure thing. Synonyms and antonyms will be taken up by, I think, some other faculty, but yes, it's definitely on our agenda. So don't worry, we'll have a separate video for synonyms as well as antonyms, okay? Also, as you can clearly see, they have asked a question here. How would you live your last few days if you knew the world was coming to an end? I would want all of you to think about that statement and come up with creative answers in the chat box later on. जब ये वीडियो ख़त्म हो जाए तो इसका आंसर मुझे चाहिए in the comment box and the best answer will get pinned. Okay? So अच्छे से सोचना, how would you live your last few days if you knew the world was coming to an end? The most creative, the most thoughtful answer would win. Ankit, that's incredible. Congratulations. Ankit, you don't have my Telegram ID? But I cannot really share my Telegram ID here on a public platform, obviously. If you want, you can talk to the LegalEdge admin support team and they can, connect you to me. Then we can have a chat. And congratulations all over again. That's awesome. Just contact the support team at LegalEdge and they will connect you to me. Okay, Ankit? I hope that's clear. This is the ID. Okay, just write an email here. Do let them know that you want to talk to me and they will get you connected. I hope you guys are liking this passage, by the way. Very interesting. Shall I move to the second one, second slide? Okay. Hi, good evening, Ashu. Good evening, Bobby. I'm sorry. Hi, Murli. Jai Hind. So yeah, see, all of these classes are curated in a way which can help you with OLETs, okay? Other law entrance test examination, and all the things that we are going to do in these classes. For example, in English, we'll be doing reading comprehension, we'll be doing vocabulary questions, we'll be doing grammar related topics. All of this is actually a part of your OLETs. So in a way, you're preparing for OLETs through these sessions. Yes. Are you guys done? Ready to see the questions? The passage wasn't that difficult, I feel. I'm really sorry. Okay, taking you to the questions. I hope you're ready. You're supposed to find out what is true regarding Marcel Proust. Any answers? Okay. By the answers, I can feel that you guys did not pay much attention on the topic of Proust. Okay, Farina, you have got it right. Good job. Farina's answer is correct. What cannot be inferred? That means in the passage you cannot find this one option. What is that option? Eighth one, I'm showing you the underlined line and you need to tell me where can you place the and how many times can you place the. So this is the underlined line. Please pay attention on it. I am convinced that world is divided into two types of people, minority who are dedicated to happiness and majority who are dedicated to unhappiness. कहाँ कहाँ पे हम the लगा सकते हैं in this particular sentence? You can just write the and the word right next to it and I'll place the there. ठीक है? So this is the line, pay attention. कहाँ आना चाहिए the? I'm convinced that the world is divided into two types of people. The minority who are dedicated to happiness and the majority who are dedicated to unhappiness. So kahan aana chahiye? Very good. So how many times did we use the? Now I think you guys know the answer. कितनी बार हमने the use किया? We used it thrice. Exactly. Very good, guys. That's exactly what I was looking for. You guessed it right. बिल्कुल सही. The majority, the minority, the world. ठीक है? So 3 times. Now, what part of speech does the word novelist belong to? Novelist is the name given to a person who writes novels. And अगर मैं बात कर रही हूँ name given to somebody, so नाम कौन सा part of speech होता है? Name given to a person who writes novels is a novelist. Very good. Farida, good job. Noun is the answer for this one. I think earlier also somebody else answered this one correctly. जब मैं questions दिखा रही थी starting में. And the 10th one. The word inhibition has been written in bold in the passage. See, inhibition का मतलब होता है a person who has, आप बोल सकते हो, limitations because they are so shy. So what is the meaning of the word inhibition? The answer is it will leave their shyness. ठीक है? That means अपनी जो shyness है उसको पीछे छोड़ दो. The way it has been written in the passage. So passage में देख लेते हैं हम लोग कैसे use कर रहे हैं ये लोग inhibition को. Probably they have used it somewhere here, I think. Silly become honest and shed their silly inhibitions. That means shed their shyness. Okay, that's how we are using it. Thank you so much, Rahul. So the answer is option B. Will become audacious. Audacious basically is will become more brave, जो कि in context of the passage has not been used. ठीक है? Will become more reclusive. Somebody who is a recluse is a person who lives a hermit life. Hermit का मतलब क्या होता है? A person who does not believe in worldly pleasures. साधु, संत, ऐसे लोग जिन्होंने दुनिया पीछे छोड़ दी है in order to seek God, seek enlightenment. right? So obviously this cannot be the answer is B. So most of the questions of this particular passage did not even require you to read the passage, you know, with that much thorough concentration. If you knew your articles, if you knew your parts of speech, your vocabulary, I think आधे answers तो ऐसे ही solve हो गए हमारे. Let's try to understand what's going on in the passage. The passage was super interesting according to me. I don't know how did you find it. This is obviously a literary passage, and it's about a Parisian newspaper known as L'Autre-Gijon. That's the name, L'Autre-Gijon. Okay, that's how it's pronounced. And this particular newspaper was super interesting, and it used to have like really investigative stories. इसमें बहुत ही rich city gossip भी हुआ करती थी, इसमें बहुत ही penetrating editorials हुआ करते थे. Penetrating editorials का मतलब है काफ़ी in-depth investigate, research करके editorials डाले जाते थे. Ankit, I am Sukanya. Okay, so I think you know my name now. Coming back to this, एक दिन क्या हुआ? So it was their habit that they used to, you know, send such big questions in the newspaper, publish big questions. So one day they decided to ask a very philosophical question, and that is, how would you live your last few days if you knew that the world was coming to an end? ठीक है, अगर आपको पता चले कि दुनिया ख़त्म होने वाली है, तो अपने last few days आप कैसे रहेंगे? ठीक है, सो एक लिटरेरी जेंटलमैन थे, उनका आंसर कैसा था? उन्होंने बोला कि इट विल एक्चुअली ड्राइव द मासेस, ड्राइव द पीपल टू द नियरेस्ट चर्च और द बेडरूम. ठीक है, प्रॉबली दे वुड वांट टू डू थिंग्स दैट दे हैवंट डन दैट मच. ठीक है, ऑल्दो अगर मैं खुद की बात करता हूँ तो आई वुड प्रॉबली गो एंड क्लाइंब अ माउंटेन एंड विल एडमायर द सीनरी, because I don't get enough time to spend time in nature, and that's the reason I'll climb a mountain, I'll go and watch the beautiful scenery and enjoy it. Then there was this actress, उनका आंसर भी बहुत अच्छा था. उन्होंने बोला कि यार दुनिया जैसे ही पता चला कि दुनिया ख़त्म होने वाली है, I think everyone would improve. The way they behave, that would change dramatically. They will probably become more honest. एक दूसरे से वो शायद जो उनके दिल की बात है वो बहुत ही खुल के कहेंगे. ठीक है, दे विल ऑल्सो शेड देयर सिली इनहिबिशंस. दैट मीन्स जितने भी शाइनेस के कारण या बिकॉज दे वर सो इंट्रोवर्टेड दे कुड नॉट स्पीक देयर माइंड, तो शायद वो लोग अपनी मन की बात बहुत ओपनली बोल पाएंगे. देयर वाज अनदर रीडर हु सेड दैट आई वुड वांट टू प्ले अ लास्ट राउंड ऑफ गोल्फ. ठीक है, मुझे गोल्फ खेलना है, एंड आई विल फॉलो इट अप विद अ फाइनल हैंड ऑफ ब्रिज. फाइनल हैंड ऑफ ब्रिज का मतलब होता है इट्स अ गेम ऑफ कार्ड्स. ओके गाइस, प्लीज स्टॉप स्पैमिंग. ठीक है, आई कैन सी योर मैसेज. 10 बार उसको भेजने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, एक बार में भी मुझे समझ में आ जाता है. आई एम जस्ट एक्सप्लेनिंग. आई विल ऑल्सो टेल यू द मीनिंग ऑफ नेग्लिजेंस. ठीक है, सो कमिंग बैक टू दिस, देयर वाज दिस वन लेटर राइटर हु इज ऑल्सो the favorite novelist of the writer of this passage. उनका नाम है Marcel Proust, and Marcel Proust is a renowned writer. So obviously उनका जो letter था वो भी unquestionably बहुत ही unusual था, just like he was an unusual Parisian of his time. बहुत ही अलग तरीके से उनकी लाइफ जो थी बहुत कलरफुल हुआ करती थी, and he lived his life, basically grabbing it by the lapel. Now coming back to this Proust's letter to the newspaper, उन्होंने क्या लिखा? उन्होंने ये लिखा कि जैसे ही पता चलेगा that the death is imminent, that means that death सभी के लिए आने वाली है, तो probably people would start waking up from their slumber. Slumber का मतलब होता है deep sleep. जो आज तक लोग सोए हुए थे, और सोए हुए क्यों थे? Because of the moral values that you need to uphold. तो वो बोलते हैं कि प्रॉबली पीपल वुड वेक अप फ्रॉम द स्लम्बर ऑफ आवर मॉरल लाइफ, क्योंकि हमें पता है कि ये चीज़ें अच्छी हैं, करना चाहिए, ये चीज़ें बुरी है, ये नहीं करना चाहिए. इन सारी चीज़ों को छोड़ के लोग फाइनली जग जाएंगे. ठीक है, क्योंकि जितना ज़्यादा हम चीज़ों को इग्नोर करते हैं, नेग्लिजेंस मीन्स इग्नोरेंस. ओके, नेग्लिजेंस मीन्स इग्नोरेंस. इग्नोरेंस एक्चुअली किल्स आवर डिज़ायर. और फाइनली जब लोगों को पता चलेगा कि अब लास्ट फ्यू डेज आर लेफ्ट, दे विल स्टार्ट टू लिव मोर एंथुजियास्टिकली. ठीक है, लाइफ वुड सडनली सीम वंडरफुल, क्योंकि लोगों को उसकी वैल्यू पता चलेगी. ठीक है, वैसे तो हमें भी नहीं पता है कि when the last day is coming, so we should actually live each day as if it is our last, right? फिर वो बोलता है कि अगर मैं अपनी बात करूँ तो I would visit new galleries of the Louvre म्यूजियम के बारे में सुना होगा आपने, ठीक है? So I would visit the new galleries of the Louvre. I will probably throw himself का मतलब है obviously Marcel Proust, at the feet of some unnamed woman, probably a woman that he loved, and he would take a trip to India. तो ये उनकी बकेट लिस्ट थी, किसकी? मार्सेल प्रूस्ट की. फिर पता चलता है इन द नेक्स्ट पैराग्राफ दैट 4 months later, 4 महीने के अंदर अंदर ही प्रूस्ट कॉट अ कोल्ड एंड डाइड. और इनको ये तीनों ही चीज़ें करने को नहीं मिली. नीदर ही कुड गो एंड विजिट द म्यूजियम, ठीक है, he couldn't go and talk or profess his love to an unnamed woman, and the third one is he couldn't even visit India. तीनों ही चीज़ें नहीं कर पाए, मर गए ऐसी. बट हिज रेसिपी फॉर हैप्पीनेस, जो उन्होंने रेसिपी दी है वो बहुत ही ब्रिलियंट है और वो मेरे ख्याल से सभी को ही अपनी लाइफ में इम्बाइब करनी ही चाहिए. ही सेड शेड आर प्रिटेंशंस टू इमॉर्टैलिटी. इसका मतलब है यू नीड टू रिकग्नाइज दैट वी आर ऑल मॉर्टल्स. हम कभी भी मर सकते हैं, ठीक है, और हम कभी भी मर सकते हैं. इसका मतलब ये है कि हर दिन वी नीड टू लिव टू द फुलेस्ट, right? We need to renew our taste for life. We need to discover new possibilities, and we also need to reassess our priorities. हमें पता करना चाहिए कि हमारे लिए ज़्यादा important कौन सी चीज़ है, ठीक है, and we need to give that thing its proper due time and live life joyfully. Then there is another philosopher thinker. His name is Nietzsche. That's how it's pronounced. N-E-E-C-H-U-H. Nietzsche. Okay, and that's a German name by the way. Now उन्होंने भी ये जो थॉट था इसको थोड़ा सा ड्रामेटिक तरीके से बोला इन दस स्पेक ज़राथुस्त्रा. दैट इज़ बेसिकली इज़ वन ऑफ द बुक्स. एंड उन्होंने बोला कि वी शुड कंसिडर एवरी डे लॉस्ट. हमें उस दिन को ऐसा मानना चाहिए कि ये दिन जो था ये एकदम ही, आप बोल सकते हो, यूजलेस था अगर हमने उस दिन एक बार भी डांस नहीं किया. That means a day when you did not dance is a day that is useless. Also he said, हमें हर उस सच को झूठ बोल देना चाहिए अगर it is not accompanied by at least one good laugh. यानी कि हमें अगर वो चीज़ हंसाती नहीं है, खुश नहीं करती है, तो हमें हर ऐसे झूठ को, हर ऐसे सच को झुटला देना चाहिए. That's what has been said by Nietzsche. Now the thing is, the writer gets reminded of Proust because उन्होंने कई डिप्रेसिंग डेज ऐसे ही इन द लेट 90s बिताए थे, रीडिंग अबाउट द टेरेबल परसिक्यूशन. परसिक्यूशन का मतलब होता है ऑपरेशन, मिसकंडक्ट, बुरा व्यवहार. तो उन्होंने अपने लेट 90s जो थे, ही मस्ट बी रीडिंग अबाउट द टेरेबल ऑपरेशन ऑफ क्रिश्चियंस इन आवर कंट्री, एंड दैट प्रॉबली माइट हैव मेड हिम वेरी वेरी सैड. तो उन्होंने बोला कि आई एम कन्विंस्ड दैट द वर्ल्ड इज डिवाइडेड इनटू 2 types ऑफ पीपल. सबसे पहले तो माइनॉरिटी में वो लोग हैं हु आर डेडिकेटेड टू हैप्पीनेस. दैट मीन्स वो हर जगह जाएंगे एंड दे विल ब्रिंग हैप्पीनेस विद देम, ठीक है, वो दूसरों पे डिपेंडेंट नहीं है हैप्पीनेस के लिए. वहीं पे ही मेजॉरिटी वाले लोग जो हैं दे आर मोर फोकस्ड ऑन अनहैप्पीनेस, कि लाइफ कितनी अनहैप्पी है, ठीक है. एंड दोज इन दिस हैप्पी माइनॉरिटी, ये वो लोग हैं जो इनर डायरेक्टेड है. इनर डायरेक्टेड का मतलब है अंदर से ही खुशी है उनके अंदर, ठीक है, ठीक है. एंड देन दे आर कंटेंट विद देयर लाइफ, दे आर हैप्पी इन द वे द लाइफ इज. ऑन द अदर हैंड देर अच्छा, उन्होंने एग्जाम्पल्स भी दिए हैं. मोस्ट ऑफ द सक्सेसफुल CEOs, क्रिएटिव पीपल, दे फॉल इन द माइनॉरिटी कैटेगरी, जो कि हमेशा खुश रहने में यकीन रखते हैं. दे आर नॉट डिपेंडेंट फॉर देयर हैप्पीनेस ऑन समबडी एल्स, ठीक है. देन इन कॉन्ट्रास्ट अगर हम बात करें अनहैप्पी लोगों की, जो कि मेजॉरिटी में है, वो आउटर डायरेक्टेड है. आउटर डायरेक्टेड का मतलब क्या होता है? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल दे डिफाइन देयर आइडेंटिटी इन रिलेशन टू अदर्स. दैट मीन्स दे लव व्हेन अदर्स आर अनहैप्पी. अगर दूसरे ना खुश होते हैं तो ये लोग खुश हो जाते हैं, ठीक है. सो देयर हैप्पीनेस इज आउटर डायरेक्टेड. तो माइनॉरिटी जो है वो इनर डायरेक्टेड है, अंदर से खुशी, और मेजॉरिटी जो है वो आउटर डायरेक्टेड है कि दूसरा दुखी है तो मैं खुश हो जाऊंगा. So that's basically the summary of this passage. Let's see the questions quickly. So in the context of the passage, which of the following is true regarding Marcel Proust? Proust never married in his life and died in his room alone. Has it been mentioned anywhere in the passage? बताओ जरा, क्या प्रूस्ट की मैरिड लाइफ के बारे में कहीं भी कुछ बात हुई थी? Not mentioned. So obviously this is a false statement. हमें ढूंढना है true. ठीक है? Proust believed that the knowledge of the imminence of death would make a person gloomy. अगर लोगों को पता चले कि death is imminent, that death is coming, they will get really sad. Whereas Proust said life will be wonderful. उन्होंने तो बोला था कि लाइफ शायद और सुंदर खूबसूरत हो जाए जब पता चले कि कुछ ही दिन बचे हुए हैं, बिकॉज देन पीपल वुड वॉन्ट टू मेक द मोस्ट ऑफ इट. सो दिस ऑप्शन इज अ कॉन्ट्रास्टिंग ऑप्शन. The answer is option C. Proust believed that to be happy we have to believe in our mortality. इसका मतलब है हमें इस चीज़ की वैल्यू होनी चाहिए that we are mortals, we can die at any given moment. और इसीलिए we need to make the most of every single moment because life is precious. Okay, so C is the answer for this one. Let's see the next one. Which of the following cannot be inferred from the above passage? If I see the first one, the minority which is dedicated to happiness is looking at themselves. Yes, of course. Inner directed जो बात हुई थी वो यही है. ठीक है? So this point can be inferred. हमें ढूंढना है cannot be inferred. The majority which is dedicated to unhappiness is looking at others for happiness. Again, this can be inferred from the passage. Outer directed जो बोला है, दूसरे अगर ना खुश है तो I'll be happy. ठीक है? Third one, Proust as a person would be considered in the minority group and Nietzsche in the majority. बल्कि दोनों का ही thought pattern जो है वो बिल्कुल same है. So this is something which is not given in the passage. This cannot be inferred. C is the answer. Very good, Parth. Correct answer. Proust wanted to visit the new galleries at the Louvre. Yes. ये तो उनका bucket list में था ही. So this also can be inferred. So answer should be option C. I hope it's clear. ठीक है? Moving to 8th one, we have already discussed the 8th one. 3 times we had used the article in that underlined statement. 9th भी हमने discuss कर लिया था. The answer is noun. Novelist is a name given to a person who writes novels. And the 10th one also we have discussed the meaning of the vocabulary word inhibition. And this also brings me to the end of today's class. But before that, I wanted to talk about something. So as you can very well see here, you can join our restart batch, and let me tell you what exactly is this restart batch. So it's meant for those people who do not have any subject related problems. मतलब कि उनके हर subjects जो हैं उसमें clarity है. It's just that they could not crack CLAT this year. ठीक है? So इस particular course में you get an access first of all to the overall GK capsules, CLAT post, GK related test series, GK related material, and along with that you also get the test series only, not any classes for the other 4 subjects. मतलब कि English, Logical, QT, as well as what else is left? Am I forgetting anything? English, Logical, QT and Legal. Yes. इन चारों के लिए आपको टेस्ट सीरीज मिल जाएगी और जीके के लिए आपको टेस्ट सीरीज के साथ साथ प्रॉपर क्लासेस, प्रॉपर मटेरियल, हर चीज़ मिल जाएगी. सो वी गॉट यू कवर्ड इन टर्म्स ऑफ जीके एज वेल एज द अदर सब्जेक्ट्स, and you can definitely join our restart batch, right? And that's it from my side. Thank you so much everybody for your time. I hope you enjoyed this session, and if you did, please give us a like. Also, I have asked you a question, so I'm looking forward to your answers. So the question for the day is that you're supposed to answer in the comment box is, how would you live your life if you get to know that the death is imminent? Okay, so please answer it in the comment box. Thank you so much. Have a good evening and bye-bye. See you again. Bye-bye.